certain female will not be able to step to the next position because the view is that maybe she will be leaving or she has domestic duties. All those sorts of things exist. And I think the challenge for us, as we reflected on that as a leadership team, is what can we do? What can we do to change this? And by no means are we the first to try to embark on this challenge. But I do think that within my team, there was massive energy and appetite to try to do something. So all I can say is we've started that journey following those tabletop discussions. And we continue to try to embrace the gender diversity and inclusion agenda and look at how we can raise our own game. One, by talking about it more. I spoke about it at a recent internal event, and one of the male leaders came to me and said, "What happened? Why are you talking about this?" And it showed me how little I had actually thought about the issue more structurally, and the need to be able to share what we're talking about here more authentically as a leadership in every part of our business. Because even though people have the best interests at heart, sometimes the outcomes are not what are desired. In conclusion, we've set ourselves an ambitious goal in Qatar Shell, but I think all of us attending here set ourselves an ambitious goal with regards to this extremely important issue. And while I'd love to say that the vision I aspire to, the vision we aspire to, is one where actually gender differentiation, religious differentiation, nationality-based differentiation is not seen as a negative difference, but is truly seen as a unique value proposition, bringing perspectives that are different, bringing perspectives that actually help take better decisions from a business perspective, but also from a social perspective. That's something we are committed to, and I do hope we can make a step change in the coming years. Before I close off, just a thought. As I recognize we all sit here peacefully and comfortably, our thoughts and prayers go out to the many victims of the terrible typhoon that took place in the southern part of the Philippines, where I know personally many, many individuals who have been impacted. Thoughts and prayers of everyone here, and I know beyond, are with them. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Wael. Datan Rosma Mansour believes strongly that human capital development begins with children, and that is important investment for the nation. She has been active in driving this initiative through the Permata programs. Other than her involvement in the welfare of children, she is also passionate in advancing youth at risk, as well as women-related issues such as empowerment of women, gender equality, and uplifting of economic status of women. Please join me in welcoming the First Lady of Malaysia, Datan Rosma Mansour.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. His Excellency Dr. Mohammed bin Saleh Al Sada, Minister of Energy and Industries of Qatar, Madam Aisha Al Fadan, Vice Chairwoman of Qatar Businesswomen Association, Royal Highnesses, Excellencies, and honored guests, distinguished speakers and delegates, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, and a good morning. It is a great pleasure for me to be back in Doha for the Qatar International Business Women Forum. I congratulate the Qatari Business Women Association and the Interactive Business Network for their success in organizing this forum for the 4th consecutive year. The theme of the forum, the role of Arab businesswomen as change makers, is in line with the vision of Arab businesswomen as the catalyst for change, especially in the Arab region. The Muslim nation stands at a crucial moment in history. It needs to orientate itself towards meeting the challenges of our times, and I'm proud that more women are stepping out to make a mark. I therefore commend your courage and open-mindedness in selecting the topics for discussion at this forum. Women in business is not a recent phenomenon. Sayyidatina Khadijah radiallahu anha, wife of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was herself a successful entrepreneur who led her own thriving business. This shows that Islam, contrary to what most people perceive, encourages women to engage in business. Verse 4.32 says that for men is a share of what they have earned, and for women is a share of what they have earned. Today we see Muslim businesswomen generating wealth for their countries by running prosperous and profitable companies, creating new products and venturing into export markets. The list of the most powerful Arab women in business is also getting longer. Names like Sheikha Hanadi Al-Thani, one of Qatar's most prominent and successful businesswomen, and founder of Amwal, Butaina Al-Ansari, founder of Qatanat and recipient of Qatar Businesswomen Award, Raja Isa Al-Ghurg, president of the Dubai Business Women's Council, and the Arab International Women's Forum, Sheikha Hessa Abdullah Salim Al-Sabah, president of the Arab Business Women's Council, Rhonda Ayubi, founder and CEO of Rubicon Holdings, Maha Al-Gunaim, founder of Global Investment House, a leading name in banking and finance, and Princess Amira Al-Tawil, who has been named as the most high-profile newcomer to CEO Middle East, and many more are inspiring us as they sway the pendulum towards a new order. Ladies and gentlemen, while we are elated that many women are creating waves in the business world, we still have to face the stark reality that in every society, women are still at a disadvantage, although they form half of the world's population. The various factors causing this predicament are well known, but today we shall not dwell on them. Instead, and more importantly, we shall focus on how to get the women out of this situation so that they can move forward. As stated by Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib, Prime Minister of Malaysia, at the opening of the 9th World Islamic Economic Forum in London recently, as we search for new and more sustainable growth models, there is one path that can increase productivity, improve corporate decision-making, and strengthen economies. To take it, we must confront one of the most stubborn inequalities, one that is holding back prosperity and hindering development. It is time to put women at the heart of our global growth story. And to do that, we must empower women. Empowering means giving women the knowledge and thinking skills for them to make informed decisions, which would give them the courage to break free from limiting belief patterns, societal conditioning, or misinterpretation of religious texts that have traditionally held women back. And to empower women is to give them a voice and opportunity to develop their sense of self-worth and to realize their full potential. In fact, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was most emphatic in enjoining Muslims to be kind and respectful to their women. In his last khutbah on Mount of Mercy in Arafah, he reminded, "Be kind to them, for they are your partners and committed helpers." By empowering women, society too benefits. A society where men and women have their say will be more balanced as it incorporates the diversity of perspectives that both can bring to any discourse. Empowerment, of course, is contingent upon gender equality and its integration into all aspects of public life, be it political, economic, or social. The Quran in Surah Al-Nisa, verse 1.1 says that men and women in Islam are equal to each other, both intrinsically and extrinsically. Bringing both empowerment and gender equality to the forefront of decision-making would ultimately lead to fairer policies and gentler society, as women's voices heard in the corridors of power are bound to transform the very culture of decision-making from adversarial to diplomatic. When women are economically empowered, their valuable talents have directly improved the growth, prosperity, competitiveness, and progress of those countries. Christine Lagarde, Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, observed that getting more women to participate in the workforce would boost growth in both developed and developing economies. She said, "Focusing on the other half of humanity does not hurt growth and economic development." The World Economic Forum studies show that the close relationship between greater equality and higher per capita income. In OECD countries, female labor participation is positively correlated with GDP, and countries that are closing the gender gap are also those that are the most dynamic. 6 of the 10 most competitive economies are also in the top 20 most equal. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now share with you Malaysia's experiences in empowering women. Historically, we are fortunate that Malaysian society is not averse to the participation of women in the economic, social, as well as the political spheres. As early as 1929, women NGOs such as the Malay Women Teachers Union promoted female education. Girls attended school long before independence in 1957. From this pool emerged the university graduates who served the newborn nation mainly as teachers, doctors, lawyers, journalists, and administrators. They were also the ones who championed and articulated various causes for women and united the women NGOs soon after independence to form the National Council of Women's Organizations, or NCWO, in 1963, of which the president, Tan Sri Datuk Dr. Sharifah Hapsah Syed Hassan Shabuddin, is here with us this morning. As an umbrella organization, which today has more than 120 affiliates, NCWO's success lies in its collaborative rather than confrontational approach with the authorities. Feminism in Malaysia was never a street protest by women demanding to be made equal. Over the last decade, working through lobbying and persuasion in an intellectual and evidence-based manner, NCWO recorded achievement after achievement in women's advancement in many fields. Its most significant contribution was in the formulation of the National Policy on Women in 1989, which identified issues and challenges faced by women in all sectors of life, set goals, key strategies, performance indicators, and targets to support the empowerment and advancement of women in areas such as education, health, economy, law, media, science, technology, and the environment. It also recommended the establishment of national missionary for women. The proactive actions of government and positive responses to advocacy are key factors in the empowerment of women. The government not only developed policies, but also strengthened the institutional mechanisms. Beginning with the establishment of a Secretariat for Women, the government gradually upgraded it to a unit, division, and department, and subsequently transforming it to a full-fledged ministry for women, family, and community development in the year 2001. Its responsibility is to plan, coordinate, implement, and monitor development programs for women in all sectors. A gender perspective was incorporated into the development process. A major landmark was the inclusion of a chapter on women and development in the third Malaysia Plan, covering the period from 1976 to 1980. The 10th Malaysia Plan from 2011 to 2015 is even more explicit in its 4 programs, key programs to empower women. First is increasing women's participation rate in the labor force to 55% by the year 2015. Second is providing equal opportunity for key decision-making positions based on merit across all sectors. Third is the provision of support for women in challenging circumstances, such as those with lower incomes, particularly widows and single mothers, to help alleviate extreme poverty. Fourth is eliminating all forms of discrimination against women. An important step in the empowering of women is legal reforms to ensure equality. The most significant change is the amendment of the Federal Constitution in 2001 to prohibit discrimination based on gender. And subsequently, many legislations were amended and enacted to be in line with the constitutional amendment of equality and to protect women. The Penal Code was amended to include a new section on spousal rape. Amendments to the Pensions Act allow widows to continue receiving pensions even after remarriage. Maybe the men will not like this. Other amendments that protect women include the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act, the Domestic Violence Act, and several provisions in the Sharia. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to say, as a result of the concerted empowering efforts undertaken by the government and NGOs, Malaysian women have made considerable inroads and achieved success in many areas. From being traditional farmers in an agrarian society, women shifted to manufacturing mainly as factory workers and are now dominating the service industry as knowledge workers. Today, our women are helming various organizations and institutions. They are rising to the challenges, and some have emerged as market leaders and are at the forefront of many fields, disciplines, and professions. Indeed, we have successfully transformed women to be effective partners in nation building. In fact, according to the United Nations Development Programme's assessment, Malaysia has made tremendous improvements in achieving the third Millennium Development Goal. Ladies and gentlemen, how do we do it? Education is the indisputable and most important enabler in empowering women, and in the process ensures sustainability and continued development of the country, as women constitute almost half of the population. Recognizing that investing in education helps build a nation's human resource that ultimately shapes its economic growth and landscape, the Malaysian government consistently allocates about 21% of its annual budget to education. For a developing country, Malaysia's education record has been good. Primary education is compulsory and free. Primary school enrollment is near 100%, where the percentage of girls already at 97% in 2006. In secondary schools, female enrollment increased to 93% in 2012. At the tertiary level, female enrollment rate is at 60% in 2012. And in some big public universities, female enrollment is more than 70% and only 30% males. I don't know where they've gone to. So there is also an array of community colleges across the country that offer a variety of lifelong learning courses ranging from hairstyling to personal grooming, fashion and design, food catering and services, and interior design. And these colleges cater to the needs of the community, including single mothers, women in various trades, as well as upskilling and reskilling programs which empower them for potentially higher learning capacity, productivity, and entrepreneurship, as well as enable them to work from home. So important is education that the Malaysian government has undertaken a comprehensive and frank review of the performance of the Malaysian education system in 2011 and launched the National Education Blueprint recently. The government is determined to revamp the education system and upgrade the quality of teachers in its efforts to equip students with the knowledge and skills required for success in the 21st century. Health, just like education, is the cornerstone of human capital development and productivity. The Malaysian health system has evolved dramatically from one that provided basic healthcare services in simple settings to one that brings together extensive specialist expertise and technology in primary, secondary, and tertiary care. Maternal and child health services were made an essential component of the National Rural Health Development. Its policy of affordable health services for all through primary health care and public health has often been commended by organizations such as the World Health Organization, or WHO, and the World Bank for the remarkable achievements, and has become a model for the developing world. The 2013 Human Development Report shows that for every 100,000 live births, 29 women die from a pregnancy-related cause. This is a marked improvement from 320 deaths for every 100,000 live births in 1957. The life expectancy at birth for females at 58.2 years in 1957 has increased to 76 years in 2010. In recent years, recognizing the rising incidence of breast cancer in women, the government has allocated funding for free mammogram for women over 40 years. In 2013, it is expected to benefit about 100,000 women in the low-income, underinsured, or uninsured group. In the 2014 budget, the government allocated 9 million ringgit for breast prosthesis and special bras for cancer patients. So the Minister of Finance even, thought of cancer bras for the women. Healthy women improve the health of their families, increase their self-esteem, and empower them to serve their communities in many ways. Ladies and gentlemen, entrepreneurship is a pivotal factor for advancing sustainable economic opportunities for women and facilitating their contribution to the economy. And in Malaysia,